1 million for road repair. The village road had fallen into disrepair for a long time, so the villagers decided to raise funds to repair the road. I contributed 1 million and took the lion's share. As a result, my house was not included in the route planned by the village. The village chief said, "The village road is everyone's road, and everyone has the final say on where to repair it." "Johnson, you misunderstood me. Can I make the decision alone?" "If I could make the decision, let alone repair it to your front door, I could even repair it to your yard." I laughed. Every family has a road to their front door, even the village chief's chicken coop and dog kennel has a road, but my family doesn't. Okay, that's how it's going to work, right? I left with my family the next day. I didn't pay, so the village road would rot there. 01 Johnson, come back soon, the drawings for the village road have been posted. Early in the morning, my mother called me. The village chief is quite efficient. Are the blueprints out? I don't know how to build roads, and I can't help. So I don't have to go back, right? I turned on the hands-free and said while brushing my teeth. This is how old people are. They have to mobilize a lot of people for even the smallest things. The village is building a road and they asked me to go back. If I don't go back, will the road still be built? No, Johnson, the road built in the village doesn't include ours. Mom explained again, not including ours? What do you mean? I was a little confused and didn't understand what my mother meant. Your dad looked at the blueprints and found that the road in the village didn't reach our house. Your dad had a quarrel with the village chief about this. You should come back soon to check it out. Mom's voice sounded really urgent. What? The hand holding the toothbrush paused. Don't worry, Mom. I'll go back right now. Keep an eye on my dad and don't let him go out. I quickly rinsed my mouth, grabbed a towel and wiped my face, put on my clothes and left. I stepped on the accelerator all the way back. As soon as we entered the village, the road conditions were extremely bad, with potholes and bumps. If I hadn't driven an off-road vehicle, I wouldn't have been able to get in. My family lives at the end of the village, the last house. I almost vomited from the bumpy road, and I barely drove the car home. Johnson, you're back. Go and persuade your dad. He's still angry. Hearing the noise, my mother had been waiting at the gate of the yard early, holding my hand and whispering. When I entered the house, I saw my father sitting there smoking with a stern face, and he was in a bad mood. Dad, your son is back to honor you. As I said that, I put the 2 packs of cigarettes I took from the car in front of my father. Ward, that bastard, the village built a road, but he left our family behind. I argued with him, and he glared at me, saying that I had to obey the village's arrangements. I obeyed his grandmother's legs. Dad threw away the cigarette but in his hand and cursed angrily. The village chief's name is Ward. Dad, you should make a cup of good tea and a cigarette, turn on the TV to watch some cartoons, let my mom cook 2 side dishes, and open a bottle of AD calcium milk at noon. How delicious is it? I pressed my father's shoulder and said with a smile. Stinky boy, are you here to make fun of your father? Dad glared at me and scolded, then couldn't help laughing. Dad, isn't it just repairing a road? It's not worth getting angry about such a trivial matter. You rest at home, I'll go to the village committee to see, if someone really bullies us, let your son take care of him. I said, patting my chest. Does it need you to take care of him? 30 years ago, if Ward dared to yell at me, I would have beaten him to death. Dad lit another cigarette and said disdainfully, yes, you fought from the beginning to the end of the village and never met an opponent. That's because you are in a good mood today, I quickly agreed. What kind of nonsense have you learned every day? You are not serious at all. Get out of here. I am annoyed when I see you. Dad was stunned and grabbed the cigarette box and threw it at me. Okay, I saluted with a smile and walked towards the village committee. Anyway, I finally made the old man happy. 02 This is Dongshan village, where I grew up. After graduating from high school, I went out to work to earn money, and then started a medicinal material business. Now my business is not small, and I am also a well-known person in the village. A few months ago, the road in the village fell into disrepair, so the village proposed that everyone contribute money to repair the road. As a member of the village collective, I took the initiative to contribute 1 million, accounting for the majority. What I didn't expect was that I contributed so much money, but the road couldn't even reach my home. It's not that I want privileges because I paid a lot, but this is too outrageous. On the notice board in the courtyard of the village committee, there is a plan for the new village road. There is also a special note, Dongshan Village Road Planning Map. The public notice period is 7 days, any comments can be reported to the village committee. I stared at the drawing and read it carefully. I was furious at the sight. No wonder my father argued with the village chief. If it were me, we might have a fight. After reading the drawings, I endured the unhappiness in my heart and went into the village committee office. It's called an office, but it's just a bungalow with a few sets of tables and chairs. It was specially built to deal with the inspection of the superiors, and no one usually comes. But today, there are quite a few people sitting inside. Hey, are you all here? I took a look and saw that they were all members of the village committee. I greeted them casually. Johnson is back? Come on, take out your good cigarettes so that we can have some meat. The village chief looked up and saw me, and asked for cigarettes. I took out an unopened box of cigarettes and threw it on the table. Several hands immediately reached over, and in the blink of an eye, only the cigarette box was left. Even those who don't smoke have to take one or two. I know the nature of these villagers too well. If you don't take advantage, you will suffer a loss. Village chief, I have something to ask you. I shook my head at the village chief, motioning him to come out and talk. Huh. The village committee is studying important matters. Let's talk after we finish what's done. The village chief blew out a puff of smoke, rolled his eyes, and found an excuse to deal with me. Oh, this is still a matter of fact, smoking my cigarette, without any sense of being short-handed. How important is it? Eventuellement. I pulled out a chair and sat down. Johnson. The village committee is holding a meeting. No one who is not related to you is allowed to participate to prevent confidential information from being leaked. The village chief knocked on the table and raised his voice to remind me, obviously dissatisfied with me sitting down like this. Come on, what big things can happen in our village? At most, there are weddings in the east and funerals in the west. Can this be considered a secret? I took out a box of Qiangzi nonchalantly and lit it up. In the first place, these people in the village who are never satisfied with what they eat and can't do anything, how can we expect them to talk about secrets? The secrets they talk about are either someone's wife cheating on a man or someone's man finding a widow, all of which are trivial matters, worse than the old lady's foot binding. Everyone's eyes instantly moved from my face to the cigarette box. The village chief swallowed his saliva, but he hadn't finished the cigarette in his hand, so he didn't ask me for another cigarette. Besides, according to national regulations, villagers, as members of the village collective, are eligible to participate in village committee meetings and put forward opinions. I coughed lightly, pulled everyone's attention back, and said again. Is there such a regulation? The village chief's face was immediately full of question marks, and several people looked at each other, and no one said anything. Village chief, you are ignorant, right? I chuckled, full of disdain. Is there such a rule? I don't know, but it's enough to fool these guys. Well, then today's meeting ends here, adjourn. The village chief's face froze, and he patted the table to announce the adjournment. Damn. What's the point of talking nonsense for so long? I suddenly had the urge to jump on the table and run over to press the cigarette but on the village chief's face. Village chief, how is the village road planned? Why don't you build it to my house? Don't I deserve a road? After everyone in the room left, I got up and sat down next to the village chief, and got straight to the point. Johnson, building a road is not a trivial matter. It's a total account. Your house is the last one at the end of the village. If you build it to your house, you have to pave dozens of meters more. It's not cost-effective. The village chief took out one of his own cigarettes and handed it to me, explaining with embarrassment. Don't talk to me about this. The last household is no longer a part of the village. There are 113 households in the village. Every household has built the road to the front door, but my family is left behind. Village chief, are you being partial to one family or the other? Or are you saying that my family is a soft persimmon and easy to squeeze? I didn't take the village chief's cigarette, and asked with a squinting look. Johnson, you misunderstood me. Building roads in the village is a collective matter. Can I make the decision alone? If I can make the decision, let alone build it to your front door, I can even build it to your yard. The village chief said with grievance. Come on, the planning map is posted in the yard. Do you want me to tear it down and show it to you? You can't make the decision? Why did they build the road to your backyard and chicken coop? Aren't you afraid of spending more money? What's the difference between this and abusing public power for personal gain? I waved my hand and said impatiently. My house is indeed at the end of the village, but that's not why my house was left out of the road construction. On the planning map, the front and back doors of the village chief's house, and even the chicken coop, were marked. What's the matter? My family is not as good as the village chief's chickens? Johnson, it's useless for you to tell me these things. The villagers unanimously decided to build the road. How to build it should be based on everyone's opinions. I am the village chief. The big and small things in the village cannot do without me. Building 2 more roads for my family is also to make it convenient for the villagers to come to me for work. You say I abuse my power for personal gain, but that's wronged me. I'm serving the villagers. The village chief was still quibbling. Serving the villagers, what's wrong? Your chickens have to serve the villagers too. Well, village chief, you have served as the village chief for these years. Your ability has not increased, but you speak official language very well. With your level, if you change your clothes and say you are the township head, people will believe it. I sneered and mocked. Really? The village chief's eyes lit up, and he really thought I was praising him. Really? I just said that, and you really believed it. I pouted, and the village chief's face turned black with anger. Okay, I don't have time to talk nonsense with you here. Regarding the road construction, whether it is your own idea or someone else's, this road must be built to my doorstep. Listen carefully, this is a request, not a request. After saying that, I stood up and prepared to leave. Johnson, do you think you are great just because you have some money in business? And you are ordering me? Whether you like it or not, this road must be built according to the drawings, I said. The village chief was angry and slammed the table and yelled at me. Ward, did I give you face? You slammed the table in front of me, do you really think you are a cadre? I haven't settled the score with you for the quarrel with my father, and you are still pushing me. You don't listen to me when I talk to you in a nice way, right? Come on, slam me again and see. I looked down at the village chief and pointed at his nose and scolded him. Is it because I have been too low-key in recent years that this old bastard has forgotten how he used to be servile in front of me and thinks he is in charge again? Do you really think that Johnson can't lift a knife? Johnson, the roads in the village are everyone's roads. Where to repair them and how to repair them is up to everyone. It's not up to me alone. The village chief was so scared that he shivered and shrank his neck and became much more honest. Pa pa pa. I applauded directly. This was a very fucking skillful statement. Since you are talking about everyone, you can build the road however you want. I won't argue with you. The road in the village belongs to everyone, so my money is not everyone's money, right? I won't pay for the road. Looking at the village chief who was confused by the applause, I directly told him the decision I made suddenly. The village chief was dumbfounded. What really made me angry and got angry with the village chief was not that the road in the village did not reach my doorstep. Road construction is a matter of benefiting the people and is a welfare for the whole village. If the superiors pity our village and allocate funds to build the road, I have no objection to it no matter how it is built. Even if this road is 108,000 miles away from my home, I won't say a word. But the problem is that this road was built by the villagers themselves. And most of the money was paid by me. If you want to build a road, I agree with both hands. If you want to pay for it, I have no objection. In the end, this road has nothing to do with my family. How can I accept this? This is the same as farming. There was a vacant land in the village. The villagers discussed and decided to plant crops together to avoid wasting the land. From tilling the soil and sowing to watering and fertilizing, I did not fall behind and was the hardest worker. As a result, after working for half a year, I was kicked out when the autumn harvest came. Others told me that the harvest of this land had nothing to do with me. Besides, I didn't want a bigger share, I just wanted to get the same as others. But such a wish could not be fulfilled. Who wouldn't be angry? Road construction is a big deal. We have discussed it at the beginning. You can't change your mind at the last minute. If you don't pay, then the road can't be built. You are going against the whole village. When the village chief heard that I would not pay, his eyes rolled and he immediately began to persuade me. Of course, on the surface, he was persuading me, but in fact, he was threatening me. Don't talk about the whole village. I don't live in the village. What's the matter? If I don't pay, I will be shot. I said disdainfully. Then we have to hold a village meeting. This is a collective matter. Seeing that I was not scared, the village chief muttered softly. Then hold it. Doesn't the village committee have a loudspeaker? Go and notify the meeting now. I paid the most money for the road construction in the village, but I was left behind. I want to see who can tell me the truth. I surrendered directly. How could I not know the village chief's little tricks? He just wanted to use the whole village to put pressure on me and force me to compromise. This is not good. The village chief hesitated. It has never happened in a lifetime to hold a general meeting of all villagers. Then you can do it yourself. Anyway, I won't pay for it unless the road is built to my doorstep. I shrugged and said disapprovingly, Johnson, this will offend people. The village chief hesitated for a long time, and finally stamped his feet and went to broadcast. Offending people? If I am still afraid of offending people at this time, won't our family be bullied by others in the future? You still have the nerve to pretend to be worried about me. Attention all villagers. Attention all villagers. There is a change in the road construction in the village. All villagers who can move, come to the village committee as quickly as possible. Repeat, there is a change in the road construction in the village. The village chief's not very standard Mandarin floated over the whole village through the loudspeaker. Soon, the villagers came one after another. In less than half an hour, everyone who could come arrived. The courtyard of the village committee, which was not big to begin with, was soon overcrowded. The village chief ran around and contacted his confidants. My parents also came. Johnson, what's going on? Why is there a village meeting? Dad asked puzzledly when he saw me. I asked Ward to call people here. These people in our village are a bit bullying. I said unhappily and explained the whole story to my parents in a low voice. Johnson, isn't this a good idea? If we do this, we will offend the whole village. Even if the road is built to our doorstep, How can we get along with others in the future? Forget it. If we don't want to build it, then don't build it. At most, your father and I will get some bricks to pave it. It's only a few dozen meters, so it won't have much impact. My mother is an honest rural woman. When she heard that I was going to confront the villagers, her first reaction was to worry, fearing that the relationship with the villagers would become strained because of the road construction. What are you afraid of? We don't owe them anything. Do we have to live by their faces? Every household in the village has paid for the road construction. Why should we be left out? Whoever dares to make things difficult for us will be slapped in the face. My father said domineeringly before I could say anything, just talk about reason. There is no need to fight. We are all villagers. It's not good to tear our faces apart. My mother has always been based on my father's will, but she is still a little worried. Don't worry, Mom. We are in the right today. You and my dad should go home first. I can handle this little thing myself. I comforted my mother and asked her and my dad to go home first. Who knows what will happen later? Maybe they will fight after a few words. I don't want to make the two elders see and worry. It's okay. We will just watch here. If there is someone who is shameless, I will not forgive him. Dad refused without thinking. I understand that he didn't want to watch the fun, but was actually worried that I would suffer. Okay, don't fight with others when you get angry. If I really can't stand it, you can still come forward in time. I knew that I couldn't persuade my father, so I could only give him a shot of prevention. Village chief, talk to everyone one by one. Why are you here to build relationships? Hurry up and do business. After waiting for almost half an hour, the village chief was still scurrying around like a flea. I grabbed him and said impatiently, Johnson, can't you be a little respectful to your uncle? My tone hurt the village chief's self-esteem, so he deliberately glared at me and scolded me. It's a pity that no matter how wide those green eyes were, they were barely as big as yellow beans, and they really had no deterrent power. Respect, hurry up. I nodded perfunctorily. Everyone be quiet. The village chief brought out a chair and stood on it and shouted loudly. The yard was a little quieter, and all the villagers turned their heads to look at the village chief. Village chief, you said on the radio that there was a change in the road construction. What's going on? Village chief, why are you calling us here in a hurry? If there is something, please tell us quickly. There is still a lot of work to do at home. The village chief's number 1 and 2 lackeys Leon and Ford deliberately asked, isn't our village going to build a road? What about Johnson? He doesn't agree with the village's plan, so he doesn't plan to pay. The road construction has been decided, and we are just waiting to start the construction. How can we build the road after such a commotion? So call everyone here and discuss whether to build the road or not. The village chief explained in a loud voice. Although this is indeed the case, when he said it, it was as if I was the one who stopped the village from building the road. What a trick to divert the trouble. It is clear that he wants to push me to the opposite side of the villagers. I sneered at the village chief and didn't take it seriously. Anyway, the money is in my hand, and it is up to me to decide whether to pay or not. I don't believe that anyone can force me to pay this money unless I am satisfied. What? Johnson, what are you going to do? It's already been decided. How can you change your mind just like that? That's right, Johnson. Didn't you support the village's road construction during the previous meeting? Why did you change your mind when the construction started? Johnson, we are all from the same village, and the road is built for the village. It's too unkind of you to do this. Johnson, the village chief brought not only disaster, but also a flood. The villagers shouted at me. It was obvious that they could not accept my withdrawal of investment, nor did they agree with my withdrawal of investment. What are you shouting about? You are bullying my Johnson by relying on your numbers? Before I could say anything, my dad couldn't help it and stood up to defend me. Who dares to bully your Johnson? Now he is bullying us, okay? Our whole village has been looking forward to the road construction for many years. It was finally decided, but he suddenly didn't do it. Isn't this a pitfall for everyone? Someone responded to my dad rudely. What's the matter? The road can't be repaired without Johnson? When did my Johnson become so important? The villagers raised money to build the road, and my share is the only one missing. Besides, the road doesn't even reach my doorstep, so it's reasonable for us not to pay, right? What are you all shouting about? And you damned ward, what are you stirring up trouble for? A grown man is doing a woman's thing. If you don't accept it, stand up and let's fight. My dad got angry and rolled up his sleeves and shouted. My mom nervously pulled my dad, fearing that he would get into a fight again in a fit of anger. What's going on? Are you not going to contribute to the village's road construction? I thought you were going to talk to Ward about something. So you're going to cut off the money? Do you really think you can get away with making a little money? Who can you control with this method? In the end, people will laugh at you for being stingy. After scolding the villagers, my dad turned around and scolded me again. He thought I didn't want to contribute the money raised. I smiled bitterly, not knowing how to explain. Uncle, it's really just your share. The village chief has asked someone to calculate that it will cost 1.3 million to build the road, and your Johnson will contribute 1 million. If he doesn't contribute the 1 million, how can the road be built? Leon said with his neck tilted. If it weren't for the fact that we have been neighbors for so many years and my son is honest, I wouldn't have given this million. My father laughed, but if he doesn't pay, I will support him. In fact, I didn't plan to pay so much money at the beginning. Since it was a fundraising for road construction, the whole village should share it. But when the village held a meeting to discuss the payment, no one was willing to pay. Either the family couldn't make ends meet, or they couldn't even raise the children's tuition. Each one of them looked like they had just rushed back from a begging scene. Seeing that the meeting could not continue, the village chief dug a hole for me. No wonder my father always scolded the village chief as a son of a bitch. This old man is really useless. Johnson, you are the most promising person in our village, you have seen the world. If I am not afraid of delaying your business, I would give you my position as village chief. In this poor and remote area, everyone has little education. When it comes to paying money, everyone wilts and is useless. Can you set an example for everyone? The village chief asked me to express my opinion first. At that time, I didn't care too much, so I said that I agreed to build the road and had no objection to the fundraising. Then the village chief and the villagers began to collude with each other and collectively praised me. Johnson, you are a big boss with a big business, and the last thing you need is money. How do you think the money for the road construction should be paid? Need I say that? Johnson must set an example, and it must be indispensable. Our village hasn't produced a person like Johnson for hundreds of years, it really brings honor to the family. Last time I went to the city, everyone knew Johnson when I mentioned him, it was really amazing. In this way, under the flattery and deception, I was put on the fire. Originally, I only planned to pay 50,000, but then I mentioned 100,000, 200,000, 500,000. And finally it became 1 million. Are I really that easy to fool? Of course not. If you lose your way after hearing a few nice words, you are just stupid. I know that the village chief and the villagers have joined forces to set a trap for me, but I can only bite the bullet and go in. Because my parents are in the village, I have proposed countless times to bring them to the city to live. But every time my parents refused for various reasons such as not being used to it, too troublesome, and no acquaintances. I really don't understand what's so good about this countryside. They've lived here all their lives and are reluctant to leave. My parents are old and weaker every day. If one day I go out and something happens to them like the village chief's mother, I'll regret it too late. 1 million is 1 million. It's convenient for me to go home after the road is built, and it's safe for my parents to walk. Besides, my family is the richest in the village. Just consider it as a contribution to the village and to give my parents face in front of the villagers. As long as my parents live comfortably, the money is worth it. Of course, although it's 1 million, it's just pocket money. However, I am willing to be the sucker and pay the money. Isn't it just to build a road that leads directly to my home? But this little wish can't be fulfilled. If I agree to pay again, I'll be an idiot. I really don't know what these people think. Building roads is good for you, me, and everyone. Is it just a few dozen meters? One more thing, we won't build this road, and we won't pay for it. Seeing that the villagers wanted to say something, my father raised his voice again. Uncle, this is already a deal, how can you go back on your word? Aren't you bullying me? That's right, Johnson himself promised to pay 1 million, and none of us forced him. Now he doesn't pay for it, are you making fun of us? Building the road is not for one family, it's the whole village's business, you just don't want to build it? When they heard that my dad couldn't pay, they immediately quit and pointed their spears at my dad. Shut up. Who is bullying whom? Why did I agree to pay? Wasn't it for the road construction? How dare you say that road construction is the whole village's business? When you were paying, you all hid behind like grandsons. Now you are so arrogant, right? You guys, count each household, the road has been built to the doorstep, why does it end at my house? I was asked to pay the bulk of the money, and the road construction has nothing to do with my family. Do you really think my money was blown by the wind? You still have the nerve to shout here, my family owes you? I protected my parents behind me and asked those guys. Isn't that a unified plan for the overall situation? The money raised by the village is only enough to build that long. Who told you that your house is at the end of the village? It's not intentional. If you want to build it to your doorstep, then you can just make up the money for those dozens of meters, right? Leon argued unconvinced. Hey, Leon, have you become more capable recently with Ward? Have you learned to be stubborn? Do you guys have any conscience? Do you really treat me like a sheep and want to squeeze me to death? What the hell is unified planning and considering the overall situation? You have all planned, you are all in the overall situation, and my family is just being raised by a stepmother, right? Ward's family has even arranged chicken coops at the front and back doors, but my family can't even arrange one even though we pay the most? Do you think I have a good temper and that my family is easy to bully? People should be conscientious. If you do things this way, I won't pay a penny for the road construction. Whatever you want, if you have the guts to put a knife on my neck and force me to pay, if you don't have that guts, stop talking. I was furious. It's all reasonable. I've explained it so clearly, but you're still talking nonsense to me. Isn't this bullying? Johnson, I think you're getting cocky, right? Do you think you've made a few bucks in business and don't care about us anymore? I'm telling you, I just can't stand your arrogant attitude. You drive a nice car and smoke nice cigarettes all day long, what's so great about that? If we didn't grow herbs to supply you, would your business be successful? You're yelling at us now? Who do you think you are? Road construction is a collective decision of the village. If you dare to hinder us, you're deliberately damaging the interests of all villagers. Ford also jumped out and pointed at me and said, Xiaofuzi, you? My dad was about to step forward to argue when he heard it, but I stopped him. Okay Ford, you've become tough these past 2 years. Forget about the way you used to go door to door with a broken bowl. So what if I'm awesome? Do you want to bite me if you don't like me? You're still accusing me, who the hell are you? You're not qualified to yell at me? Whose interests have I harmed? Explain it to me clearly. I won't pay the money, so what? Call the police to arrest me? Sue me in court? I want to see who can make me pay the money. I'm also saying this to each of you. Think about your own weight before you speak or act. Ward, are you hiding in your shell again? You can discuss whether the village should build a road or not. I won't pay 1 million, not a cent. If you have a way, go ahead. If you don't, die. I stopped being polite and just tore my face off against these people in the village. Johnson, don't take yourself too seriously. Do you really think Dongshan village can't do without you? I'm telling you, we can still build this road without you. It's just a little more money, as if no one can afford it. Don't even think about staying in Dongshan village anymore. Get out. The village chief was so embarrassed by my words that he shouted angrily. Get out. Get out. Get out. The villagers shouted in unison, one louder than the other, raising their hands. The look they gave us was as if they had a blood feud. Okay. Mom, let's go. My heart went cold. I said nothing more and took my parents home. Johnson, you've offended everyone in the village by making such a fuss. How can we deal with them in the future? When I got home, my mother said with some concern, they've already shit on our necks, why do we still indulge them? I think those who didn't beat them are the lightest. A bunch of shameless people, teaming up to bully us. Dad didn't care about the consequences, he was also angry. Dad, Mom, let's move. After thinking for a moment, I suddenly said, what? My parents were shocked by what I said. Johnson, even if it's a little unpleasant today, there's no need to move, right? Are you still worried that they will retaliate against our family? Dad asked puzzled. Yeah. I nodded. They dare. Dad stood up with his eyes wide open. Dad, don't you understand at this time? I helped Dad sit down and lit a cigarette for him. You and my mother have lived in the village for a lifetime, and our family has never done anything evil. Logically, we should have good relationships with people, right? I have always wondered why our family was left out of the village's road construction project, even though I contributed the most money. Just now I suddenly understood that they did it on purpose. From what they said, it seems that I make money from my business because of them. They are not balanced. Why are our family richer than them? Once a person becomes jealous, he will start to do bad things. Since I started my business, these people in the village don't say anything on the surface, but they are behind my back. How many ideas did he have for my family? How many advantages did he take from my family? It's Leon. He got married last year and came to my house to pester me. He tried to build connections and complained about being poor. He wanted to book a hotel in the city and hire a car team. He also shamelessly asked me to give him a generous gift, saying that it would save my face. Good guy, he almost asked me to pay for the bride price. Look at his posture just now, he almost pounced on me and bit me. This kind of person doesn't remember kindness at all. These people in the village have been poor all their lives. They don't want to make money and live a good life. They think about calculating people all day long. To put it bluntly, they are a group of unruly people. As I talked, I also got angry and lit a cigarette and took a few puffs. My parents didn't say anything. How could they not know what I said? It's just that they have lived in the countryside for a lifetime, and the concept of human relations has long been deeply rooted. Sometimes, even if you know you will suffer a loss, you can only endure it. When I made my first pot of gold in business, my thoughts were still those of rural people. Returning home with wealth and building a big house, let everyone in the village know that I have made money, and my family will live better. After a boss who also came from the countryside learned of my idea, he told me a story about a man in gorgeous clothes walking at night. Hating others for having something and laughing at others for not having something, isn't this a psychological portrayal of many people nowadays? Are there not enough conflicts caused by this? I immediately changed my mind and bought a house in the city to take my parents to live there. but the two elders didn't want to. I could only do my best to let my parents eat better, dress better, and live more comfortably. At the same time, I repeatedly told them not to show off their wealth. But I was so low-key, but I couldn't hide it for long. The villagers came to visit my house and saw the big fish and meat on the table. Every time I drove home, I gave my mother nutritional supplements and my father good cigarettes and good wine. Later, when I helped the village sell medicinal materials, the village chief and his people in the city also saw the scale of my business. From then on, whoever held a wedding or funeral in the village, or whoever had a headache or fever, they all came to my house to beg for alms. Although they said they were borrowing, they never paid it back. Even so, they were still not satisfied. They hated our family. Now, under the pretext of road construction, they first extorted money from me and bullied my family. Is the road construction really just a few dozen meters away from my house? How could it be? The village chief's chicken coop can be repaired, so it's just a matter of building it to my doorstep? They just use this method to give them a sense of revenge. In their hearts, I am richer than them, and that is the original sin. Alas, the people in our village are all black-hearted. Dad finished smoking a cigarette quietly and sighed. Then let's go with Johnson? Mom asked Dad for his opinion. We have lived here for a lifetime. It's hard to let go like this. Dad said after a moment of hesitation. I was happy in my heart. He was shaken. Dad, what's there to be reluctant about in this remote and poor place? Living in the city is more convenient than in the village, and it's more comfortable. There's a park next to my house, full of old men and women, playing chess and dancing. You can make some new friends there. It's better than staying with these unscrupulous, ungrateful people. To be honest, after what happened today, I'm really worried about you staying in the village. Who knows how crazy these people can be? What if they start a fire or take medicine? This has happened before. Even if I tear them apart, it won't help. Besides, you can help me share some of the burden if you go to the city. If I have grandchildren in 2 years, I'm counting on you to help me take care of them. I racked my brains to find all kinds of reasons to convince my father. Okay, let's go to the city. We've been farmers all our lives. Let's be city dwellers again and enjoy life. Dad slapped his thigh and made a decision. I know that it was the last sentence that really moved him. Let's go when we say so. I don't need anything, and there's no need to bring this pile of junk at home into the city. I asked my parents to pack a few sets of clothes and valuables, locked the door, and went straight back to the city. This road in the village that has not yet been built has nothing to do with my family. They can repair it however they want. I have no objection even if they pave the road for the village chief's toilet. As for these people in the village, it doesn't matter even more. 3 months passed in a flash, and we haven't returned to the village once. My parents have also completely integrated into the life in the city. My mother joined the square dance army, dancing for 2 hours every morning and evening, and she has her own dance team, and there are team building activities every few days. My father also made a lot of friends who like to exercise. With the strength he gained from farming, he quickly became famous in his circle of friends. He goes out at a certain time every day, and never goes home unless he is happy. I think if I ask them to go back to the village now, they will definitely accuse me of being unfilial. The only thing that bothers me is my parents' obsession with having grandchildren. They nag me countless times every day, asking me to fulfill my promise. The problem is, I don't even have a wife now. I was discussing business that day, and suddenly I received a call from the village chief. We haven't been in touch for the past 3 months. Johnson, come back in the next 2 days, as soon as possible. The village chief used an imperative tone on the phone. Who are you? Where do you want me to go back to? I asked knowingly. I'm your Uncle Dan. What month is it? Why don't you go back to the village? The village chief's tone was obviously a little unhappy. What are you talking about? I don't understand. I have something else to do. Hang up. I hung up the phone directly. Of course I know what month it is now, and I know why the village chief asked me to go back to the village. But what does it have to do with me? Then the village chief called me several more times in a row, but I ignored them all. The market for medicinal materials is sluggish this year, and pharmaceutical factories have kept prices very low. If you want to sell at a high price, you must have excellent quality. Fortunately, I have a lot of reliable suppliers, and they are all first-hand sources. I have been busy dealing with them recently. Sometimes I have to attend 7 or 8 social events a day. My parents are considerate of me and didn't mention the grandson again. The next day, a group of uninvited guests came to my office. It was the village chief who came to see me with a group of villagers. More than a dozen people almost filled up the office. Bringing so many people here, are they demonstrating to me? I looked up and signaled the secretary to go out first. If you have anything to say, please hurry up and tell me. I have to meet a client later. I said in a very formal way, and then looked down at the information. Johnson, what do you mean? Why don't you answer my call? The village chief walked a few steps to the desk and questioned me angrily. I told you, if you have anything to say, please hurry up and tell me. I said without raising my head. Johnson, when are you going to collect the medicine in the village? Everyone is waiting? You don't come back, and you don't answer the phone. Isn't this a waste of time? The village chief picked up the cigarette box on my desk, took out a cigarette, lit it and took a puff, and put the rest in his pocket. Get out. I raised my head and leaned back, looking at the village chief and said coldly. At this time, he still had a tone of, I owe them, I really don't know what his last name is. What? The village chief was stunned. In my office, you are not allowed to smoke without my permission. Do you understand? If you want to smoke, get out and smoke. Also, smoking your own cigarettes in the future without asking is called stealing, understand? I just looked at the village chief and reminded him expressionlessly. Johnson. How can you talk to the village chief? Leon was anxious to stand up for his master. Did I ask you to speak? Who are you? If you don't want me to call the security guards to kick you out, just stand there. Really? How dare you, a dead toad or a rotten rat, jump in front of me? I glanced at him and raised my voice to scold him. Since the last incident, I have no feelings for these people, or the entire Dongshan village. I don't have any burden to not give them a good face. You. Leon was so angry that he couldn't speak. The village chief quietly put out the half-remaining cigarette in his hand, took out the box of cigarettes in his pocket and put it away from me, and winked at Leon, indicating that he should stand at the door. In this way, the villagers who followed the village chief and were still a little restless immediately became obedient. Johnson, I don't know why you are angry, but the village affairs cannot be delayed. If you put it down any longer, the herbs will lose moisture and weight. You can't joke with everyone's harvest. The village chief took a few deep breaths and learned to speak to me in a nice voice. But this sounded like an accusation. Oh, I understand. You came to me today to ask me to buy the herbs from Dongshan village? I asked in surprise. You are asking knowingly? The village chief said with dissatisfaction. What does the herbs from Dongshan village have to do with me? Who stipulated that I must buy the herbs from Dongshan village? I knocked on the table and asked back. Didn't you buy them in the past few years? The village chief was furious. What does the past few years have to do with this year? Have we signed a contract? Or is there any law that stipulates it? I smiled disdainfully and said again. Johnson, you are also from Dongshan village. You have the responsibility and obligation to serve Dongshan village. If everyone hadn't grown herbs for you over the years, where would you get your business? Now you want to cross the river and demolish the bridge? The village chief started to blackmail me. TSK. Now you remember that I am from Dongshan village? Why didn't you mention it when the road was being built? Why didn't you mention it when you were plotting against my family? Also, think about it before you speak. What do you mean by everyone growing herbs for me? It's as if all the money from selling herbs in the village is given to me. I have always purchased at the highest market price, and no one has been treated unfairly. Don't feel wronged. In addition, I never lack business. There are many herbal medicine merchants who cooperate with me, and Dongshan village is the least profitable one. I curled my lips again, and I felt more and more that these people were shameless. In their eyes, no matter how good my business is, it is their reward. So I owe them and must repay them all the time. Who plotted against your family? Don't make up rumors without any evidence. The village chief wanted to step on the rabbit on the tail, and he was immediately anxious. Why? Do you need me to tell you one by one? I stared at the village chief and asked. He didn't say anything. He knew whether he had plotted against my family and how much he had plotted. Johnson, I know you have a knot in your heart because of the road construction, but why do you, a grown man, always hold on to that matter? Now the road has been built, and you didn't pay for it, right? Let's put this matter aside and deal with the medicinal materials first. The village chief changed the subject, and he was quite proud of it. It seemed that he was saying that we could still build the road without you. Finished? Has it been built to my house? I became interested and sat up straight and asked. It's normal. There are more than 100 households in the village. Without me, this nemesis, each family can still build the road with a few thousand yuan. The village chief was silent again. No need to ask, it must have been unrepaired. Okay, I don't have time to talk nonsense with you, go back, don't come to me for the collection of medicinal materials in the future. I waved my hand and ordered them to leave. Johnson, don't be too much, do you think I'm easy to bully because I speak to you in a nice voice? I'm telling you, the village representatives are all here today, you must do the collection of medicinal materials for us. Seeing that I kept mocking him, the village chief couldn't stand it anymore, and slammed the table and yelled. What? You want to scare me with your numbers? Do you want to force buying and selling? Just the dozen of you? TSK, there are more than 40 security guards in my building, why don't you try to be more arrogant? I slowly stood up, put my hands on the table and approached the village chief, sneering, and asked. The village chief's face suddenly turned purple. Johnson, you are going to be an enemy of the entire Dongshan village. Don't forget that your family is still in the village. You have to think clearly about the consequences of doing so. The village chief stared at me and gritted his teeth. Haha, threatening me? That's all you can do. I'll tell you, Ward, Dongshan village also has my homestead, my house and my fields. You have to take good care of them for me. If a brick or a tile is missing, I can make you lose everything. If you don't believe me, just try it. I grabbed the village chief's collar and pushed him back gently. Okay, you're strong now, let's see. The village chief staggered back a few steps, saying the toughest words, doing the most cowardly things, and left with the mob in embarrassment. I have personally experienced the virtues of these people. If I smile a little, they will immediately think of themselves as the sun. If I loosen my mouth a little today, they will ride on my neck tomorrow. As for the medicinal materials in Dongshan village, the quality is at best medium, and I can't make money even if I collect them. Since there is no profit and no good, why bother doing such a stupid thing? Anyway, we have already torn our faces apart, so I no longer have the idea of seeing each other again in the future. I will do what I have to do, follow the rules, and put my interests first. 10 days later, I was preparing to attend a business meeting with the senior who told me the story of Genie Night Walk, but I was blocked downstairs of the company. The whole Dongshan village, from the old to the young, all the people who can move came. I know that they can't sell the medicinal herbs in their hands, and they are anxious. Johnson, can you help me collect the medicinal herbs? Our family depends on this little money to eat. Johnson, Ward is full of bad water, and he is the one who instigated it. We don't let him be the village chief anymore, and he dug up the road in front of his house. Johnson, the villagers have raised some money to repave the road, which leads directly to the door of your yard. Johnson. The villagers shouted around me. Hey, 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 do you guys have any shame? When you shouted for the Johnson family to get out of Dongshan village, you were much tougher than now. The senior boss knew what I was going through, and he stood up and said before I could say anything, "Who are you?" "We are looking for Johnson. Does it have anything to do with you?" "That is it your turn to speak?" "I didn't ask you. It seems that you have a big mouth, right?" The villagers are polite to me now, but it doesn't mean they will be polite to the senior boss, they just open their mouths and spit. I am Johnson's big brother, he has to listen to what I say. Do you still want to yell at me? The senior boss stopped me who was about to explain, and said to the villagers with a smile. No one dared to say anything now. What I despise most is you guys. You use people when you need them, and you have no conscience. What's wrong? Now that you can't sell the herbs, you are willing to build roads for the Johnson family. What were you doing before? Do you know how much Johnson has lost in selling herbs to your village over the years? The herbs grown in your village are like weeds. No one wants them in the market? When you need them, call them Johnson. When you don't need them, tell them to get out. Why are you so arrogant? Isn't that Ward in the same group with you? He's the one who got you because you can't sell the herbs. After selling people, do you still have any sense of loyalty? In your eyes, no matter who it is, as long as it affects your own interests, you will sell your own mother and father? You are a bunch of villains. Even if you starve to death, you don't deserve sympathy. If you stop here again, I will call the police to report you for gathering and causing trouble. If you have the time to act like a rogue here, you should learn how to be a human being first. I have made the decision on behalf of Johnson for the medicinal herbs you planted. I will definitely not accept them. Find a way to solve it yourself. If you are not convinced, come to me and let's fight. The senior boss scolded these people and dragged me away directly. Johnson, don't think my brother's words are unpleasant. Good birds choose trees to inhabit, and good people choose neighbors to live with. Doing business also requires a good fortune. If you are surrounded by such people, it will affect your fortune. Listen to my brother's advice, stay away from such people in the future. There is nothing else in their eyes except profit. After getting in the car, the senior boss said to me earnestly. I nodded, I thought so too. Sure enough, after leaving Dongshan village, my business became more and more smooth, and I negotiated several big orders in a row. My business is getting bigger and bigger, and my life is smooth, just like the senior boss said. Good birds choose trees to inhabit, and good people choose neighbors to live with. As for what happened to Dongshan village later, I don't know much. I only know that in the next few years, all the medicinal herbs they planted were sold at extremely low prices, and they lost a lot. And the village chief who instigated the riot was also beaten up by them when they rushed into his house. Of course, during this period many villagers called me privately to apologize to me, but people only trust you once, and once it's gone, it's gone.